was basically what's the best way to stop your dog pulling on the leash. And that is so common that I thought that would be a good one to start with, since pretty much everybody is dealing with that, especially in quarantine. I know I'm going on walks with my dogs every single day just to get out. So, it's probably coming up for people a lot. So we spend a lot of time teaching walking nicely on a leash in our dog classes. So if it's something you're really interested in or really struggling with, I would definitely recommend checking out our classes, since it's something we kind of practice a lot, and it helps a lot to be able to do it in person, kind of get that more physical practice with it. But I'm going to give you kind of the quick start guide to leash walking here. Since there's a lot to it, I'll just narrow it down and give you the quick version. So basically, the way you want to think about it is that dogs pull on the leash because it works. If they want to go from point A to point B and they pull you there and get there faster, then to them that works. So they're going to keep pulling. So the really simple way to think about it is as long as your dog is pulling, you want to not be moving. You want to make sure that that is the least efficient way to get where they're going. So if they are pulling, if they're straining at the end of the leash, just stop moving, stop advancing towards what you're going towards. And anytime that they are on a loose leash, you can keep walking. So you might be thinking, well, I'm never going to go anywhere because they're always at the end of their leash. So that's where you can do a little more proactive training to help with that. So you want to definitely not move forward if they're pulling, but how to get them to be pulling less so that you have a moment to reward where you can keep going is to show them what you do want instead. So the way to do that is you want to start kind of showing your dog that a great place to be is right at your side. When they're on a leash. You can practice this at home. In fact, I think that's the best place to start learning this and practicing this, because you don't have all the distractions of outside and you're stuck in your house anyway, so it's a great time to practice leash walking. Just put their leash on and walk around the kitchen, walk around your house. Essentially what you want to do is always give your treat at the same place, kind of right at your side. I usually do kind of right by my knee if your dog is tall enough, and anytime they're in that position right next to you, deliver the treat right to their mouth. So they're going to start viewing that space as kind of a home base that they're going to come back to. So you're just playing this little follow the leader. You're walking around, and anytime they come into that spot on their own, or you can help them get there by showing them the treat at first, kind of, hey, here's a good place to be. And as soon as they're in position, reward, then take another step, reward again. They're going to start realizing this is a really good place to be, and they get treats when they're right next to you. So now you can start practicing this outside in your yard or out on a walk. And they're going to start checking in to that same spot. This has become a home base that you're rewarding. They're not going to walk the whole walk there, and that's fine. You don't want them to. It's fine for them to be sniffing and enjoying the walk. But now that they know this spot is a place that gets rewards, that's going to have kind of this stronger pull. They're going to check in back in that spot. And if you are ready to give a treat whenever they do pop into that position, they're going to stay closer to you because they're periodically checking in there. And now you have a starting place. You have something for them to do instead of pulling, somewhere that they're going to stay close to, and they're going to be spending less time way out at the end of the leash and more time next to you because they know now that that's the thing to be rewarded. So then once you have that baseline, now you've kind of got a starting place. Here we're going on our walk. You're at the very end of the leash. Stop, not moving. Boring. They check in, they get a treat, and you start walking again. So it's going to make sense to them. Oh, if I stick closer, our walk keeps going. It's fun. And now the fastest way to get from point A to point B is to not pull. So they will pick that. And they'll kind of keep popping back to that place by their side. So like I said, there's a lot of coordination with leash walking. There's a lot of kind of figuring out how to hold everything, how to maneuver, and we practice it a lot in classes. But that is at least something to get you started. You can start walking around the house, rewarding that spot right by your knee, and you'll end up having a little shadow there in no time, so that now when you go outside, they're more drawn to the side of you in this position than they are to the very end of that leash. And don't get discouraged if your first couple walks are a lot of start and stop. It can be really frustrating when you first try this because it's brand new to you, brand new to the dog. They're going to go end of leash, stop, wait, come back to the side, get 2 more steps, stop again. That's really, really normal, but you might have a couple walks with this start and stop, and then once they go, oh, and understand the concept, your walks are gonna get so much easier and you don't constantly have to pull them back. So it's really, really worth it to put in those couple frustrating walks up front. So don't be discouraged if you don't get very far on your first walks. Don't plan to do a 5-mile hike the first time you try this. Oh, and then one other thing that can make this so much easier is I definitely recommend getting what's called a front clip harness. I've got one here to show you. So a front clip harness is just a harness for your dog, and front clip just means that the leash is going to clip on their chest instead of like on their back and shoulders. So here is one here. This I think is an easy walk, but there's several brands. This is just the one I tend to use. So basically, if you can see, the dog's head goes through here. Their legs come through here. So this clip will be on their chest, kind of right here. So when the leash clips to their chest, when they get out ahead of you, it will turn them more towards the side and back towards you, as opposed to when you have it on their back, they're just going to kind of keep pulling against that pressure, and it's just this tug of war. When you have something that instead uses this angle more smartly, it's going to pull them back towards the side. You get this moment where they're going to go, huh, what's back here? There you are with your treats, and you get another moment to reward. So it can really break that pattern of just barreling ahead, especially if you have like a small dog, or not a small dog, a strong dog, kind of one of those low tanks that can just go. If it turns them to the side, it's hard for them to keep barreling ahead with that angle. So it's a really, really simple, easy switch, just having a harness that's clips to the front instead of to the back, but it'll make a huge difference and really, really complements this training you're doing to make it easier, because it's just makes it easier that they're gonna keep turning back towards you, then you reward it and it helps you get there quicker. So definitely recommend a front clip harness like this one. Try that out. It has helped me with some really, really big, strong dogs. And it's more comfortable for them. They're not pulling on their necks. They can't hurt themselves with it. So I highly recommend one of those. Okay.